Hi, I'm Carrie Ann Stout, founder and CEO of Vinco Bar Exam Coaching. And we are here today doing another interview with a coach. Today we have Dwayne with us to talk a little bit about why he's decided to be a bar exam coach and his connection with the Vinco family. So thank you for joining us this morning, Dwayne.
No problem.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing well.
So let's just jump in with some of these questions. I personally get this question asked of me all the time, so I love asking it to the coaches, which is, why in the world do you want to continue dealing with the bar exam any longer than you have to? Like, you could spend your free time doing anything. And I know you've got a lot of stuff going on. Your free time is limited. Why in the world do you choose to be a bar exam coach with some of your free time?
Well, I think the main reason is because I recognize the value in things that I took for granted when I was in law school. Accountability, structure, and support. Those three elements are so, so important to success on every level, but more specifically to the bar exam, that if I can provide that to another student coming behind, it's a win-win. It gives me a great feeling. So the accountability, making sure that they're doing the work, the structure, giving them the guidance and structuring a plan, and of course the support when they need it. Those are the things that I find to be important.
You enjoy providing those for students.
Absolutely, yeah.
And another thing is, I think a lot of students assume that students who pass the bar exam, it was sort of like all rainbows and butterflies. Like they just went through and no hiccups, everything was fine. And so I love asking the coaches, like, what was actually the worst part for you about studying for the bar exam?
I think the worst part about, when it came to studying for the bar exam is those times where you got a low percentage on a set of practice questions you did. It sometimes becomes discouraging, especially if you get, and everybody will go through this, a lull, kind of like a series of days where you're studying, you're not getting above 50% of your questions correct, and you're sitting there wondering and starting to question yourself. I think that's probably the worst feeling with studying for the bar exam.
When like the self-doubt would creep in a little bit with that.
Start wondering, am I supposed to be an attorney then? Does this mean I'm not good? Yeah, that's probably the worst part.
And totally normal part of the bar exam, right? And living proof that doesn't mean you're going to fail or not be successful, because that's how you're feeling and then you passed. So what about traps that you see like bar takers fall into, like things that you can see it from the outside coming a mile away that's a bad idea, but that they fall into it anyway? What about that?
I think one of the biggest traps they fall into is assuming that as long as they do it the next day, they'll be fine. They can catch up. It's very important to make sure that you're consistent with your study plan, to continue to do whatever it is you set out to do. That discipline is what's going to help you get past the bar exam, or past anything that could hinder you, passing the bar exam. I think I've seen a lot of people at times, forgive me, I think I've seen a lot of people at times say to themselves, I did 50 questions yesterday. I don't need to do 50 today, or maybe I'll just do 30 today. Maybe I planned to study criminal law, but I got a good percentage on criminal law yesterday, so maybe I don't need to do criminal law today. If you have a plan, stick to it, go through it, and you'll find that the results from the discipline will create a path of success. So I think that's the biggest trap I've seen people.
Like just getting a little behind, or saying like, I tell students, like, I'll do that later is the biggest lie you'll ever tell yourself. For that reason, it's like it builds up. All of a sudden, 50 questions today, 100 questions tomorrow, 500 questions by the end of the week. And I think that's great advice. And so, like, speaking of advice, so that's a trap you see. But if you're talking to someone who's getting ready to take the bar exam and you just have 5 minutes with them and you can only tell them one piece of advice, what would it be?
Have confidence in the studying that you have done up until this point. Don't go into a panic. I think a lot of people, they wonder what's going to happen on the day of the exam.
Yeah.
In theory, when what you're doing and what you're practicing is not so much just the question is knowledge, but also the ability to take the bar exam. When you do those practice questions and you're doing 50 of them and you're timing yourself and you're saying, all right, I got an hour and a half to do 50 questions. And, what you're doing is just aligning yourself with a pattern of success. The students that have successfully passed, they have all mastered and maybe not even mastered, but they've all become comfortable with the timing aspect of it. And that's going to be your biggest friend. So just know that the practice that you've done and up until this point has put you in a position to pass the bar exams. Don't blame
Yes. Sounds like I almost hear like two bits of advice in there, right? Which is like do the practice and then have confidence that the practice worked.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is it's so important. And so we talked earlier about why you choose to spend some time doing bar prep in general, but you could do this with any company. What specifically like draws you to Vinco, or do you feel makes Vinco special or unique? Because part of the goal of this conversation is to let people know a little bit more about like who we are as a company as well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna start off by saying I value my time more than anyone, right? So if I choose to spend my time doing something, trust and believe it, I see a value in it. Vinco Prep, unlike other programs that I've seen, actually structures things to the specific student, which is so much different than these cookie cutter programs. There's no one size fits all in this thing. And Vinco Prep offers a unique fit to each student, specific to what they're going to do. And I think that brings a whole different set of value. I mean, the amount of time that you're going to choose to spend on any particular subject or any particular problem or whatever, Vinco will sit there and invest their time and knowledge into, where that person is going and then try to help them along that path. So I think that's probably the reason why I think Vinco stands out. And because I think Vinco stands out, I'm willing to invest my time with Vinco Prep.
That's awesome. That's a different take than we've heard from some of the other coaches, and I really appreciate hearing. This has been fun for me to hear what you guys are valuing about it, and then also we're talking to some students this week as well, and there's a lot of overlap between what you guys enjoy about the coaching process and between what the students are finding to be helpful. So go team. I feel like we're on the right track. Thank you so much for spending this time with us this morning. If you guys are interested in learning more about Vinco, you can find us at vincoprep.com. And in the meantime, I will be back with another interview later this week. So have a good one.